Hangman. I'm wearing my Hangman shirt when he was in Bullet Club. And we're here and this is certainly not, and this is actually cosmic coincidence because I didn't even think about that when I was playing to watch Against All Odds' main event. Impact World Champion, AAA World Champion, or the Mega Champion, but I still call it World Champion out of habit. Also, you'll notice the video is all a little weird because of the lens flare effect that seemingly I can't get rid of now. Yeah, there was an issue with my camera, so yeah, I tried to correct it as best I could today and last night after my House of X Powers of 10 video, but on my Pop Culture Omniversa channel. So, yay! So Moose won the battle royale match essentially at Under Siege as part of the Road to Slammiversary event storylines. Moose defeated in a 6-way #1 contenders match to earn the Impact World title opportunity against Kenny Omega. And Moose sent a message saying, "I'm coming back to take what's ours." And at Against All Odds, the match was set. I was surprised they didn't do it at Slammiversary, but it looks like they're going another direction. But yeah, there is something else I did want to bring up. So I just wanted to bring this part up, and now let's talk about something else. The Impact Summit. The Impact AEW Summit. So what happened here was that due to a controversial event where Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers attacked Sami Callihan during his match against Moose, there was a debate that should Sami Callihan, the lethal wrestler that nearly killed Eddie Edwards by accident, or at least did horrible damage to his eye, they had this big summit. It was about 10 minutes long from the promo segment that's cut on YouTube, where Scott D'Amore and Tony Khan have agreed to use the Daily's Place as the main event spectacle for Moose and Kenny Omega, and that whoever wins the match, and is the world champion heading into Slammiversary, will fight Sami Callihan, the Draw, into Slammiversary. And if that's the case, and if their Impact's hinting what they're suggesting they're hinting in their promo videos for Slammiversary, could you imagine it? Kenny Omega, the AEW Impact World Champion, being held by an AEW champion, defeats an Impact wrestler who subsequently is then challenged by a New Japan Pro wrestler who is definitely not the Rainmaker, who's currently now doing nothing in New Japan and could be available for this if they want to do that. Wouldn't that be awesome? Like, you get Kenny Omega and he gets this and whatnot, and just sells it like it was absolute horror to see his mortal enemy. That's not Hiroshi Tanahashi, the man who drove him out of Japan and into the arms of AEW, essentially. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that they're doing this. So yeah, they did the summit. Don Callis, being the invisible hand and the in real life former executive vice president, he still is in storyline continuity because they can't address it yet. I'm pretty sure they will after what went down in the main event. But yeah, it was a fun segment. Tony Khan trying to get more of his character out there. Also, there's a reason why I have not talked about the New Japan Pro Wrestling WWE thing. I'm waiting for more details to emerge about that, so stay tuned for that. But let's get back to the match. Kenny Omega versus Moose. And yeah, okay, so this was at Daily's Place, and this wouldn't involve the Good Brothers because Impact's pay-per-view event tonight was held at their Impact Zone area in, where was it again? I keep forgetting where they're at. But I know it's not in Florida. It's a couple states away. But yeah, so that doesn't help their case. So the Good Brothers couldn't get involved in this unless they have teleportation technology. or they fight for a long time that the plane lands and then they get to the car and go there, which is impossible given that Impact and I don't think there ever been a wrestling match that was 24 hours. Like I heard there were matches where there were 6 hours and people left, and but that was before when wrestling was completely scripted and whatnot. Anyways, Moose would take on Kenny Omega without the help of the Good Brothers, since they were busy fighting in a street fight and lost horribly to Sami Callihan and the Tommy Dreamers of the Dreaming World. Wrestling. You just love to see this crossover event. And oh man, it certainly was a thing to see this. So Kenny Omega and Moose, they go to war. They go to war here. Moose has the size advantage, and Kenny has the athleticism and natural ability to run around, because he has his rubber supply secretly stashed somewhere. But there is a bit of a problem with Kenny. He's hurt very badly in real life. Like, I don't know if they'll ever bring it up on TV, but from what I was hearing from what was reported, let me find the exact report so I can get all the medical stuff that was going out, because Kenny Omega for some reason has a very, 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 very bad luck status with his health currently. Oh God. Yeah, he's dealing with multiple injuries. And yeah, let's see what the report was. Let's see. He sliced his hand at Double or Nothing after hitting Pac with the AEW World Championship that required 7 stitches. He has a deep bone bruise close to his tailbone, an athletic hernia alongside his usual wear and tear on his knees. Let's see. He's also been ill this week with a stomach virus. And Omega has admitted that during Double or Nothing Fan Fest, he wakes up sometimes and thinks retirement isn't too far away. Ew. Yeah. I mean, damn. Like I said, there's a reason why I assumed he went to AEW was to lessen his painful schedule, because in Japan it was stiff competition, quite literally, and in WWE they have the 300-day system, at least before the pandemic happened, but no one predicted it at the time. So yeah, you would think, oh well, with him in AEW it's the perfect compromise. He can do his athletic stuff he did in Japan once in a while, but he wouldn't have to work as hard like he would have in Japan, or what he would have been insanely forced to do in WWE. But looks like since this crossover event started, it's kind of compensating for his schedule. Like, think about it. He's wrestling for 3 different promotions. He's set to fight Andrade at Triple Mania event at AAA. Yeah, think of that what you will. And now he has to defend his Impact title against Moose. And now he might have to defend it in a hardcore match, considering how Sami Callihan likes to have his way with hardcore wrestling. And at Slammiversary, you're thinking, oh, he is royally screwed, isn't he? Which means that this could be the only time he holds all these titles, so we better appreciate it for what we can. And I honestly think once he eventually drops all the titles, once he drops them all, I'm thinking he's going to lose it to Hangman, the AEW title. Once I think they drop the belts off of him, he's going to take an extended hiatus, not only just to sell his defeats, but to also recover, try to make some time, get some surgeries done, and then take some extended breaks, like try to really build up his eventual return, because I think AEW can survive without Kenny and make it for a little bit, for an extended period of time. So, yeah, so the fact that he's still able to keep performing at a top level the way he has been, especially with the competition he's fighting across 3 different promotions, and with the Kenny Omega character vying to go after the NWA and the New Japan Pro Wrestling belts, yeah, it could be a major problem there. Yeah, so Hangman has about till November to think of something. Or at least December at least, because Kenny Omega might not be. Kenny better be healthy enough. Luckily, they don't do 12 goddamn pay per views a year, at least. Anyways, this match was pretty good for the most part, and then they did the ending. Like the ending's not bad. Like you already have the bar set for crappy finishes. Like the botched ending at Revolution is a prime example. Like I said, I still think there was an NDA agreement between AEW and the production company, so they can't say the company's name because they know that they would have been royally screwed by the tribalist community side of AEW fan bases. Oh, fuck. But yeah, Moose gave everything he can, and for a 300-pounder, he certainly moves. Okay, this is the thing that bugs me to no end. Not like it bugs me to like it makes me mad, like that shouldn't be a thing. It just weirds me a little bit, bugs me out to think this guy is 300 pounds and he's moving like a cruiserweight at times, and I'm like, that that's legal, right? Like I look at Brody Lee, God rest his soul, and I'm looking at Brody Lee's like he can't. How is he moving like a cruiserweight at times? Wait, why is Samoa Joe doing suicide dives? Wait, how is Kenny Omega doing all? Well, Kenny Omega is an exception because he's more like a like Buddy Murphy was. How he was labeled 205 pounds, but looked more heavyweightish than cruiserweightish. But that's beside the point. But like, I see these guys who are either 200 over close to 300 pounds or at 300 pounds of raw muscle, and they can do these insane dives and make you think, are they cruiserweight secretly, or did they convert their bones to rubber? And then when you see guys in their 60s, that I'm not kidding when I say that. Uh, oh god, oh, oh god, it's just weird. Oh god, this is so weird. It, I'm not saying the Rockers. I keep trying to remember who they were. Uh, they're that team that they were in NWA for a little bit. I'm trying to double check, but every time I see them, I'm like, how are they moving that quick? No, seriously, how the fuck are they moving that quick? Like, I'm like, it's baffling at times. I look at it and I'm like, uh, how? Like, the Rock and Roll Express, yeah, them. Like, they've been a team since the 80s, and yet you got and they've been wrestling and together they've been wrestling since 1977 to 78 to now, and you got Ricky Morton doing a Panama Sunrise a Panama Sunrise power bomb and moving like a cruiserweight, doing suicide dives, and he's freaking 64. Like, that's how amazing it is to see these guys who are either super old and you're like, you can't, like, can you actually work that kind of schedule? You can't actually work that smooth? Or they're too massive and yet move like cruiserweights. That just amazes me to no end. It, man, we have man, like if they saw this in the 90s, I'm pretty sure they would be like look at me, I'm the 2000s kid who watched wrestling, and I'm amazed to see this because it was always a standard thing. Like this big guys would either do massive moments or do a top rope move, but not like explosive like a cruiserweight would do. But then that all changed when I saw Luke Harper do a suicide dive. on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, and I'm like, man. And there was the cruiserweights who, they always did that stuff. And then there were the hybrid between heavyweight and cruiserweight, and you could believe that. But when you got the big guys like a Roman Reigns, who did do an accidental suicide dive with a spear maneuver when Brock Lesnar got out of the way, which was kind of awesome. Uh, yeah, it's just amazing. And then there you got Moose, who does a moonsault, and then you also see him do a move where he does the sunset flip, and I'm like, wow. And then the ending comes, and it's like, it should have been a little bit more with that ending. Like, I knew the Young Bucks were, I knew something shenanigans was gonna happen. At least now the Impact fan base can say that. Let me see, what were the team called name? Let's see, Generation Me. You can now say that they finally returned to Impact after nearly 10 years. Yeah, so yeah, everyone rejoice. Generation Me has returned to Impact Wrestling. They go by the Young Bucks. Oh man, I'm pretty sure someone's gonna be pissed about that. But anyways, oh man, I didn't they say they almost quit wrestling because of that whole run they did in Impact. I'm like, I don't know. I I think that's what I heard, but I could be wrong. Or that they were at least miserable. I don't think they liked their time there. I think they said, but yeah. Generation Me. Oh God, just fun. And now you get Generation Me on an Impact show taking place at AEW Base HQ, Daly's Place, where the Impact World Championship is being defended by an AEW wrestler who just happens to be the AAA champion and the AEW champion, defending it against an Impact contracted wrestler in Moose with Scott D'Amore and Don Callis, executive vice presidents on wrestling commentary, with Tony Schiavone, who represents AEW. You see, this is the thing why I like this more than WWE these days, why I find more hype energy, because it's just like, really think about that. This is like, you haven't seen these kind of big crossovers happening like they happen like ROH and New Japan, but like when you look like let's go ahead and give our contractedly bound AEW wrestler the Impact World Championship, even though he's not a contracted wrestler there. And let's have him and an Impact contracted wrestler fight in an AEW arena, and we get former Impact guys, Generation Me, aka the Young Bucks, to show up and make their quote re-debut and beat the hell out of Moose. And then we get Sami Callihan. Oh, by the way, Sami Callihan came by because that was gonna happen, to raise absolute hell. And you're just like, this is so fun. This is just fun. And not me trying to overanalyze and overcritically think things like, isn't that right, Triple H? Why should I have to slog through 3 freaking hours of garbage just to get the one thing I might like on here? Tell me. I know the whole phrase, save the best for last, but if it's the only thing that works, if it's the only good thing in a 3-hour show, how am I supposed to stay invested? But enough about my thoughts on what Triple H was saying and the rationality and illogical nonsense it was, in my opinion, on certain aspects. Like, I agree, we are pesky fans. We are crazy. We will do everything crazy, but it's not just the wrestling fans that are crazy. Almost every fandom has a tribalist movement ready to wage war and declare death sentences on the internet. I just happen to be reasonable, and also, if you like WWE, fine, like WWE. I'm not telling you to not like them. You can like them. I understand why you still want to watch them. just respect my opinion, and I'll respect yours. So, yeah. BTE trigger, Kenny Omega comes out. Kenny Omega finally lifts Moose up after some help from the Young Bucks, aka Generation Me, and he retains the title in dramatic fashion. And Scott D'Amore says, "Son of a boom." And he even admits early in the match that I like Kenny Omega as the Impact World Champion. I like that he's a contracted AEW wrestler from another company and could subsequently just toss our belt in the garbage can. But that would be stupid. And, oh man, that would be freaking insane. It's not 97 anymore. I know it's not 1995 anymore, so yeah. Yeah. So to see all this, Sami Callihan comes out, raises hell, wants to repeat what he did to Eddie Edwards, but with a baseball bat and not a spiked bat, to Kenny Omega. Don Callis, using his executive vice president powers, decrees, "You are fired," and whatnot, much to Sami Callihan's irate and Scott D'Amore coming out and not doing the right thing and reversing that decision or going into gridlock to prevent the firing, but keep Sami Callihan off the table for a while until an agreement can be arranged with Anthem involved. Yeah, they could do that. They instead have Scott D'Amore just rant and rave to rant at Don Callis and walk out Dynamite set, where Sami Callihan having his hands on his hips, laughing after throwing a chair at Kenny, screaming, "This is bullshit," and we cut off. So yep, looks like Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan is currently off the table, but you know it's gonna happen eventually. And Moose is now in the back of the line. So yeah, that was my collective thoughts on everything. Man, this was a pretty good match, but the ending was a little not bad, but just drags it down a little bit, in my opinion. You feel me? Okay. So yeah, fun main event, but not like something to like 100% write home about. But Moose was pretty good in this match. Omega was Omega, even in his broken, battered state, which is kind of amazing. He's working the New Japan style, even though he kind of has no reason to at this point. He could stop. But since he's having all these world titles, he kind of can't stop unless he wants to let all his fans down and pontificate to the world why he is the best. Let's just hope nothing bad happens. We can just hope for that and hope for the best. So, still rooting for Hangman Page to be the one that dethrones Kenny and starts the beginning of the end of the Bill Collector. So, those were my collective thoughts on AEW Impact Wrestling event crossover match at Kenny Omega, the AEW, AAA, and Impact TNA World Champion against Moose. And this was at Impact Wrestling Against All Odds 2021. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my content in the description below. This was Neo Reality Entertainment, the WrestleVerse, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care, everybody.